Hey everybody, I'm Kurt with the Smallegan real estate team, and we are here today with Luke and Eliza Owens talking about net-to-table seafoods and fresh salmon on the table.
So I'm Captain Luke Owens. This is my wife Eliza, Clara, Olivia, and Grace isn't here at the moment. But we're a fisher family in Alaska, so we own a commercial fishing operation, and the whole family comes up. It's the largest wild salmon run in the world, Bristol Bay, Alaska. And then we also own a direct-to-consumer seafood business, so we ship nationwide as well as sell at local farmers markets, Fulton Street Farmers Market in Grand Rapids, and Muskegon and Rockford.
All right, so I have known both of you for a long time, especially you, but can you just introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you're all about?
All right. So I'm Luke Owens, my wife Eliza, Olivia, Clara, Grace isn't here right now, but I grew up in Rockford, Michigan here, and went to college at Cornerstone University where I met Eliza. And so as soon as we were done with school, we went up to Alaska, and we're teachers there. And while we were there for 7 years, we ended up purchasing a commercial fishing operation in Bristol Bay, which is downriver from where we lived. And so for the last, it's been 11 seasons, we've been going up to Bristol Bay, Alaska to commercial fish. It's the largest wild salmon run in the world. Over half the world's wild salmon come from Bristol Bay in this crazy 3.5 weeks of actual fishing. So it's a pretty amazing thing to see, just that number of fish. Like sometimes the water just appears alive with fish. Like,
force of nature.
It's a force of nature for sure. And then I had a couple of kids while we were living up there year round, and ended up moving back here to be a little closer to family. And there's some tough things about being off the road system and in rural Alaska with really little kids. So, but we still go up every summer to commercial fish, and so then we started net-to-table seafood, so we could bring part of our catch back to our community here, and then we ship nationwide now and partner with some other fishermen for Alaskan species.
So actually, Eliza, describe a little bit, what was the homestead like when you were living up there year round? What was the lifestyle for you?
So the schools actually provide teacher housing, which is nice. It's subsidized housing. Otherwise it would be really unaffordable for teacher salaries. So, but the housing was nice. All the teachers are right together, so it was a tight-knit community. And our daughters had friends in teacher row, we called it. So that was fun too. And we'd have lots of community kiddos come on up and pop in after school for play dates and snacks, and it was really fun.
But quite rustic?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, just we don't have there weren't the amenities that there are here on the road system. No grocery shopping nearby.
No hospitals.
We had to fly in all of our groceries. Fly out if a kid had a high fever and needed medical assistance.
Because when you say off the road system, so travel out of town was what, just by air or by boat?
Yeah.
Just by air, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long were you there living like that?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find that situation?
Yeah.
Like how did you find that they needed teachers up there? Is there a job board that you went to, or?
I guess I'll let Luke speak to that because it was kind of always his dream and I was game. So, Luke.
Yeah, so I worked through my college years at Tenalian Bible Camp, which is in Port Ellsworth, Alaska. And so a lot of the kids were from the surrounding villages of Port Ellsworth. So fell in love with the people and the place. And so when Eliza was done with her student teaching, I called up to that particular school district where a lot of those villages were a part of, and so they ended up actually hiring us into that village where the Bible camp was. So we taught there for 4 years, and then I got my degree in educational leadership and Eliza in special education, and there was a village called Nustiahawk, which is on the Nushagak River, and they called me up and said, hey, we actually have a need for an assistant principal here and for a special ed teacher. So that's where we went then for the next 3 years.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How did you get into the fishing then? How did that become, were you just, I'm imagining, recreational fishing a lot just because you could?
Yeah.
But then how did that become purchasing a commercial operation?
I knew we were going to end up coming back to Michigan. And I wanted a way to stay connected with the people in the place, and then also have some way of providing, like the way that timing works out for signing teacher contracts there versus here. There's no way to have a job in hand before resigning there. So it was nice to kind of have a couple years under my belt with a business, have some level of like income in case, because I didn't get a teaching job right away.
What is the process then for preserving or prepping for sale from there?
So then they get flown or trucked or freezer barged to the state of Washington, and then from there, then they go to my fulfillment centers or to here for farmers market.
Okay, so here's primarily farmers market.
Yeah.
And what's that look like here? Where are they for the farmers markets, and how do people find you there?
Yeah.
Wise is in charge of farmers markets.
So, how do people find us at farmers markets? Well,
they see our videos sometimes.
yeah, I think a lot of people in the community just kind of happen upon us at the market.
Yeah, they just walk by and
Just
then
walk
they're
by
like,
and we get to talk to them about and people are always surprised to see Alaskan seafood
Yeah.
there. They're like, what's the story? There's got to be a story here. So we tell them our connection to the local community, and I actually have close ties to a lot of the farmers markets in the area because my parents are fruit growers out on Fruit Ridge in Cazenovia. So I grew up going to farmers markets selling their product since I was in middle school. So
Is your stuff at most farmers markets around?
we've kind of reduced it year to year, and it changes year to year too. But the three staples are Muskegon, Rockford, and Fulton Street Farmers Market. And Fulton Street Market, we attend that market year round.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how often do you eat salmon at home?
a lot.
And do you love salmon?
Yes.
We're trying to get them to fall in love with some other species as well. But they
prefer salmon.
Born and raised on
I
salmon.
like sablefish spread, but not just sablefish.
Yeah.
We have,
We're working
like,
on it.
A lot of different salmon recipes.
Okay.
So I never get bored of it.
No, I can't do this. You know what I felt like? I didn't try to get that little piece. It just flaked off. But then I felt like the McDonald's CEO with this little tiny burger bite. Like I can't do that. No, I need to. This has to be real.
Have to be real.
Okay.
Are you a seafood eater?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did. I grew up with fish and salmon a lot because my dad fishes on Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah.
So we still did quite a bit of that. But this is going to be.
That's without the tartar. You started out there.
Yeah, so is this, you guys do this full time? Are you still doing the teaching?
So when Net to Table started to get some traction, I was too busy with it to teach anymore. So we have our harvesting operation, a small floating processing vessel, but that's in the summer, and then the rest of the year is full time, direct to consumer. So farmers markets, Eliza handles most of that, and then the e-commerce piece is the thing that's taking up most of the bandwidth right now.
And how busy is it for you when you said you're like distribution
Yeah.
and e-commerce? I mean, is this pretty much year round, just other than harvesting, fulfilling orders?
Yeah. But so I've recently hired a couple of other folks to help with the e-commerce piece because, like, my perfect world is I just continue to be like a fisherman, and not lose that with my family,
Yeah.
and then and provide some content and like context for net to table, but staying behind a computer screen kind of crushes my soul. I want to be out on the water. Like,
Well, and with that question, this was something that was more of a passion for you. Obviously, fishing is just a hobby for a lot of people. You turned it into a business. When it became a business,
yeah.
how much, if any, of the passion and the fun became more of just a diligence or difficulty?
I think that sport fishing and commercial fishing are so different. That doesn't have too much of an effect. When I come back, from the season, I still enjoy sport fishing, but it used to be when I would sport fish, I was mostly in it for the meat. And now it's not like that because I have wild Alaskan, so much wild Alaskan seafood at my fingertips all the time. I'm not like going so much to put meat on the table, but I still enjoy it. It's still fun, especially like I bring my kids and nieces and nephews and stuff and get them learning how to fish and all of that. So I still enjoy sport fishing.
And how did you, as a couple primarily, make the decision though to jump into this? This is not a typical job. It's not a typical lifestyle. It's very entrepreneurial, and all the travel and the fishing and everything. How did you make that decision to say, yeah, this is what we're going for?
You want to answer that or me?
I don't know if I have the exact answer, but
I think it was during COVID when my dad was sick, and
Okay.
he was like really bored. So then he came up with this idea. What about we start a business?
That's actually
Yeah.
true.
yeah,
net to table
for net to
standards.
table, that's how that was born.
Not for fishing,
Luke
but
was quarantining in the basement for 2 weeks, and one thing that kept us from processing our own fish and selling it directly was the freezing process, because there's salty air and the equipment that people usually use to flash freeze fish is very expensive. It's like 30 grand easy, and it just the shape of it is like a tower, and it just wouldn't really work on our floating microprocessor. And so he came up with the ice cream method. Just found the exact amount of salt to slush ratio, and we were able to freeze a fish. I think we got it down to as little as like
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
And this
And
was
anything under 4 hours is considered flash frozen. So it's a pretty effective method. So we did process our own fish for 4 years. Last year when we brought the girls up, we kind of hung that up for a little while, but we might get back at it.
But this was a COVID quarantine epiphany,
Yeah.
and that changed the business. That's amazing.
Yeah, before that we were just harvesters.
Okay.
It'd be cool to be able to direct market our fish someday. So that's kind of how that.
And it worked well because, as teachers, we could continue to teach while we were also fishing, in the summers. It just worked out schedule-wise.
As you made the transition. Okay.
So in
Yeah.
Alaska, is there a limit to the amount of fish you can actually catch?
So what they do is the fishery location is very small, like where we're allowed to the open waters, and it's in the bay, so right where the rivers are flowing in. So what they do is they count the number of fish going up the rivers, and they make sure that there's enough fish. That's a tough job.
How do you count? You
they
just
do
talked
they
about
take 8-hour shifts,
But-
24/7. There's some of them
doing what? Looking at it with a clicker in their hand?
Mm-hmm.
That's can't.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Don't they
What a
also
job.
use sonar though? I thought I read that.
Some places they do. They have weirs and sonar, but
How accurate do you think that is?
they use sample spaces because
Okay.
they can't count every
No.
Extrapolating the data.
fish. Yeah.
And they also limit the number of permits in the bay.
Yep.
And sometimes the state will even buy back some permits to make the fishing.
But primarily they ensure that there's the right amount of fish in the river to spawn to reproduce, and then they allow us to fish the surplus.
Right.
So the regulation is based a lot on the conservation.
Yeah, it's like the number one thing is to make sure that there's that it's sustainable, and then the secondary thing is to utilize the resource.
Yeah. For the process you're in, what is the benefit to a consumer? What's the benefit to someone enjoying the salmon right now that it was caught and provided for this way? Why is this better than other salmon?
So there's a big difference nutritionally between wild salmon and farm raised. So all Atlantic salmon is farm raised. There's no wild Atlantic salmon that's commercially harvested for resale. So so most of the salmon that's on the market is farm raised, including what you get at the restaurant.
2/3 of the salmon that the U.S. consumes is farm raised.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's similar to like grain-fed beef versus like pasture-raised beef, or even like something that's wild, like venison. So farm-raised fish has way more saturated fat because it's just like swimming around on a little pen. It's not like traversing the whole Pacific Ocean, and a lot of times they have to give them antibiotics and things like that. Otherwise, disease, because there's such confined spaces, there's spread of disease and those sorts of things.
Parasite outbreaks.
Yeah. So nutritionally, there's a big benefit there. And then the sustainability of it is a big deal because not all fisheries are sustainable.
Right.
So
with the proper conservation, wild caught fish is going to be sustainable.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So like we don't sell Alaskan pollock because that's caught by factory trawlers, which have it's not a very sustainable fishery. They have tons of bycatch and so so pollock is like what you get at like McDonald's when they have a fish fillet. And,
Got it.
yeah.
That's
Cheap.
what we
fillet.
consider when we think of fish. If it's just called fish, it's probably pollock.
It's probably
Is that
pollock.
about right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fish is pollock.
Or like, there's a lot of farm raised tilapia
That
too
I
is a big
recognize,
part of the seafood market.
Can I just say one more thing? I think another really important thing to me as a mom of small children is that there are no consumption limits on the salmon harvested in Alaska because they're eating like zooplankton first of all, so they're eating these really little things, but also the waters are clean. You don't have to worry about PCBs or mercury levels. You could eat the salmon every single day and it would only be good for you. But salmon from the Great Lakes is not that way.
Unfortunately.
What I also really like about it is the color is really pretty, and also it like tastes really. It tastes like I would eat this for a treat.
Oh wow! You're really
I think that's
selling
the
it.
only video we need.
I know. Okay. As a seafood lover, I do think it's kind of a silly thing that people will often say that they don't want their fish to taste fishy, which I do understand, but it seems a little silly. But this is no, like it's a very good flavor, but it is a mild flavor. Like it's not overpowering, and it's it's true. It doesn't taste fishy. I still don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Or why people don't want fish to be fishy.
But is fishy associated with like a McDonald's fish, right? Like,
Pollock.
whatever.
Yeah,
You
no,
get what I'm saying,
I get
right?
that.
Like normally when you think fish, it's bad fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have McDonald's in the video.
We'll stop
so.
saying that. I already talked about the I already talked about the
Don't wanna
CEO.
fight.
So
Don't wanna fight.
fast food fish.
But the point,
Yes.
yeah, like I think fish, like if it's like this, it tastes good.
Yeah.
And you actually can taste it. Normally, you taste like the grease or
They just deep fry everything.
the
Yeah.
slime, whatever.
Also, that oil in the fish, when that breaks down, that gives it kind of the strong, like fishy
Okay.
sort of flavor. So And so some species might be more susceptible to that if they have more oil content. But then also the quicker the fish goes from being harvested to being frozen, that decreases the amount of that oil breaking down and tasting fishy.
So the flash freezing process is
super
key as
important.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting it frozen as soon as possible. And it's not good too, like in grocery stores where they set fish out.
Yeah.
That's not frozen, because the longer it sits in that display case, the more it breaks down the fish you're gonna taste.
It looks nice. On
It
the
looks
ice.
nice.
It's a great presentation. But
Uh-huh.
okay. When you talk about wild salmon, talk about Alaska. How wild is this? Is this bald eagles and bears and like you guys are hiking in the mountains? What does that really look like and feel like to be in that environment?
I had a couple of bear visitors too. Luckily this year not in my cabin. I've had a couple of seasons where I came back and they've been in my cabin and they'll crawl through like a window, but then they don't crawl back out through the window. They just like go out the wall. They just take a whole wall out. It's terrible. But this year they weren't in the cabin. I just saw them. They were out.
Fishing.
They're out fishing. Yep.
The competition, right? So
Lots
how
of
different
seals.
does this salmon taste versus like right out of the river?
So
So this salmon is actually older than what our customers get.
Okay.
These are the ones that I hand filleted. So it was not this summer, but it was actually the summer before. And it's good in your freezer for probably forever, but ideally within 3 years you want to eat it.
Okay.
But yeah, fish that's straight out of the water is pretty incredible. We oddly don't eat a ton of salmon on the fishing grounds.
they're so busy.
Yeah, there's no running water at our cabins, so it's kind of a messy thing to do without running water to like fillet a fish. Yeah.
So how many fish a year do you get?
So we usually catch between 300 and 400,000 pounds of sockeye salmon, just my operation. So the fish last few years have been pretty small on average. So just averaging, probably for us, close to like 4 pounds-ish. So we probably catch between like 80 and 100,000 individual fish.
Wow. The fish that you sell to farmers market, are these all you caught them?
So some of them we caught, and then some of them other fishermen in our area caught. So we only sell wild Alaskan salmon that's from Bristol Bay, where I fish.
Yep.
So now some of the fish is like fish that Eliza filleted up there, but then also we are part of a processor, a co-op, Silver Bay Seafoods. And so now more, as we've grown, like more of our fish, they process it.
Okay.
We're just not able to process enough fish on our little microprocessor
Yeah.
to fulfill all the
100,000
orders.
fish, you can't cut that up?
It's like maximum maybe 1,000 pounds a day on that tiny little boat, maybe.
So it's all coming from like, all like small boat fishermen in the Silver Bay Seafoods co-op fleet.
Well, are those some
And
people
Bristol
too
Bay.
who don't have the capacity to distribute like you do?
Right.
So you're one of them, but you also then facilitate getting their product out to all the same places.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think it's all interesting that there's this supply chain of fish, and you know, if you really just like the fishing aspect of it and you just want to catch them and then somebody else will sell them,
Yeah.
that there's options like that out there.
Yeah.
Because they don't necessarily have to expand or change their business. They get to just be the guy on the boat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And that's how we started. I mean, for
Great.
many years, 7 years, I think, we're just fishers.
is this something that you're doing now that you hope to expand or grow, or do you like this niche that you're in right now?
So for my fishing business, it's pretty much like as large as I want it to be. I don't really look to expand that at all. For net to table seafoods, you know, e-commerce is pretty scalable, so I probably do need to grow it more than it is right now. and I don't really expect to expand the farmers market business either. I think it's there's only so many like trucks you can have in your driveway.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have a truck for every farmer's market you go
Yeah.
to. So
No, I honestly, I think that I know that there's so much work that goes into this. I know there's so much in the background we're not seeing today, but the fact that you all as a family are part of this and enjoying this and loving this, I think it's so incredible. It really is. It's a real blessing. And I know there are so many people that I talk to who say, "Oh, I have this dream or this idea or this passion." Maybe it was even a COVID quarantine epiphany, but I don't know how to make it an actual business. What, I mean, as someone who's made this work, your own passion, your own job, your own lifestyle, what advice can you give to people who are daydreaming about making something like this a reality?
I think, this sounds kind of counterintuitive, but where people get the most stuck is that they keep planning, and at some point you just have to like, if it's a business you're trying to start, like just start selling something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't you don't have to have this full like the picture you have in your mind of it, what it's going to become someday. It's probably not going to start out that way. So just like being able to get your feet wet and try to and start trying things, because that, at least for us, obviously the harvest operation is a little bit different because that's pretty like, other people have done it before. I bought the operation a certain way. There's a lot of like really, guidelines of how it's done. With the D2C thing and e-commerce, that took a while to get, find that product market fit, and so it took a lot of trial and error before we actually got traction. But doing the farmers market thing, where it's something that's not as scalable, but it still is helpful because you're still handling product, you're selling your product, you're learning things. You're getting insights.
With the customer.
Yeah, you're getting insights into the audience, into the market.
And the farmer's market is something with a relatively easy entry.
Exactly.
You could say this is, so you would say to someone who wants to make their passion or their dream into a real business, is to say, find what can you do right now? What, even if it seems small, even if you don't know where it goes, what can you do today that is going to potentially lead to this being full-time?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Something that's
I don't
like
think
low risk, low barrier to entry. Yeah.
I don't know if we could have done what we did without having the farmers market income, because we don't have any investors. It was kind of like a nice little, they call it like a nest egg, I guess. I don't know. gave us some funding to get the e-commerce thing rolling, which is not cheap.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that starting an e-commerce
Right.
like website that there would be a lot of, but yeah, that took significant capital and then our own time to kind of get traction there, because it's a national audience, like it's super competitive.
Yep.
So kind of figuring out where you fit in that, and then there's also some like with different platforms, you kind of have to spend a lot to learn a lot, kind of thing.
So it's just salmon, or what other type of products are?
It started with just the salmon that we hand fillet ourselves. I think the first couple of years were sold out by like September, October, October. And then we started partnering with other fishermen and buying back some of the fish that we caught and sold to Silver Bay, so that we were able to sell year round.
Is there plans to have other species of fish or crab or anything like
As
that?
long as it aligns with our brand, like it certainly has to be sustainable. That's
So right now we
important to us.
partner with the Valsco family. He one of his two boats, the Dangerous Cape and the Kaya. One of his vessels, the Dangerous Cape, they tender for us, so we would bring our fish over to them. They'd haul it, put it into their RSW tanks, and then bring it to Silver Bay. But on the Kaya, he built a slurry ice machine. So he's able to make his own fresh ice, and they like gill and gut their fish right on board. And so we buy fish from them. So there's halibut and rockfish are caught via long line.
Okay.
So they have a long line with hooks, and baited hooks on it. And then they catch Pacific cod, and then sable fish, which is also known as black cod, using pots like they fish for crab. Kind of back to like what you were mentioning about like advice for someone like has an idea of starting a business, is that like at some point too, I think it's important to find, you know, some sort of a differentiator, or like I talked about like product market fit. Like you have to offer something to the market that that other people are not offering. And so like for us, for instance, like where we finally got traction in e-com is that we're able to offer the lowest price in the nation for wild Alaskan seafood shipped to doorstep. And we're doing that, you know, partially, I mean, it does help that we're the producers, right, that we're fishermen, but also everybody was doing these 4.5 pound boxes shipped to doorstep. But in like shipping fish, not only to customers, but also shipping fish from Alaska, you know, found that like if the gross weight of the box, the most efficient like per pound is 50 pounds gross weight. And so we are offering like these freezer fills of fish, there's like 30 pounds of fish. And that really, because the shipping cost to get it to someone's doorstep is such a big chunk of the overall cost, that's reducing that per pound. And so, yeah, all that to be said, if you can start by just selling, if you're in it long enough, if you can like, you know, scratch out enough time, stick with it long enough, eventually you can work into like figure out where am I able to offer the market something different.
Do the work, be unique, and then just keep working on it as you go to find those ways to innovate and improve.
Yeah.
That's huge. And like you said, if the freezer life is for at least a couple years or up to a couple years, then why not get the freezer fill and just bring it all in at once?
And then, like, and this is something that changed. Like since COVID, a lot more people have bought chest freezers. And then also a lot of people will, it's like buying a quarter of a cow, right? They go in with other families or whatever and split it so they can save money by buying in bulk. It's not really a new concept for sure to buy in bulk, but that's what we're bringing to the market for ship to doorstep seafood.
So where can someone find information about your company? Are you on social platforms, or do you have a website?
Net2tableseafoods.com
Okay.
is the website, and then Net2Table is the handle for Facebook. We're on Instagram, not a whole lot on TikTok, a little bit. Those are the best ways.
What type of content are you guys putting on Instagram?
So some fishing stuff, as well as recipes,
Like cooking?
cooking, yeah. And
Okay.
so we, you know, most of our promo type stuff is through ads, not so much like our actual Facebook page. That's more like organic lifestyle. You know, trying to, so because the reality is like it's not enough to sell people seafood, like they gotta eat the seafood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
fill the freezer and it just stays there.
they
forever,
can't
and
exactly.
They gotta empty it to fill it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've gotta eat it. So like the more we're able to support customers, and a lot of our customers understand like food is medicine, right? Like
Yeah, American Heart Association recommends that you eat seafood twice a week.
wild seafood is not the cheapest protein out there. There are much cheaper proteins. You know what I mean? Like you could buy like Tyson chicken. You know what I mean?
But are there better proteins?
Right. No, not really. Yeah.
It was great getting to know a little bit about your business, and thank you for the food. It was
Yeah.
Dude, that was...
Have some more. You
would,
guys gotta eat.
Yeah, they're coming in.